Hello, welcome once again to this series where we're playing as WWE in 2026. Of course, we've got a few things that we've changed about the company for this series. We have made them a touring company, and also we have changed the roster split so that the men have a roster to themselves and the women have a roster to themselves. And today we, of course, taking on the big show. Royal Rumble 2026 is here. Well, Men's Royal Rumble 2026 anyway is here. Of course, we're playing a little bit behind WWE's actual timeline, but we'll soon catch up and pass them based on the schedule I've got planned for this series. Once a week episodes. As you can see, we've got loads and loads of money, 600 million, and we are massively popular. And we finally arrived at the Royal Rumble. Before we get to the Royal Rumble, there are a few bits and pieces about the business side of things in WWE. So first of all, I've had another person, or at least another couple of people actually, approach me. God, could not find that word in my head. Then approach me about being brought up to the main roster, starting with Jordan Grace. Now, certainly she's someone I had on my mind to bring up to the main roster, and I believe she is now in reality on the main roster. So I guess my question is to you guys: do I bring Jordan Grace up to the main roster or not? Also, another person who's asked for that to happen is Blake Monroe. Previously, Mariah May, obviously in AEW, very talented woman indeed. Do we bring her up as well to the main roster? I mean, look, we have got plenty of scope for expansion for the women's roster. And so I think it's very likely that both of these ladies will make their way up to the main roster very shortly. Ricky Saints is another one who has requested to be brought up, another one who was previously in AEW, of course. And so again, less certain with the men. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. We have so many men on the roster. We probably are going to trim that a little bit. So based on what we've just done with the Royal Rumble qualifying matches, if I'm going to continue to do qualifying matches, we'll need 60 wrestlers for each division at minimum. And that, of course, also means we need a world champion and possibly a contender for that world champion. So a minimum of 62 wrestlers on the roster in order to do what I've just done with the Royal Rumble tour, which I'm about to bring you the highlights of. So we still have to cut down the men's roster a little bit, but not massively, and we do have to expand the women's roster considerably. You'll see here the Undertaker's got morale issues, and so has Jason Jordan. Now, the Undertaker's morale issues was because of the fact that Jason Jordan was the head road agent. Now, I've since done a little bit of review of the road agent situation, and certainly, The Undertaker is the highest skilled road agent, according to the game at least, and Jason Jordan is not. So I have removed Jason Jordan, not booking team, that's not what I want, Inner Circle. I have now removed Jason Jordan as the senior road agent, and The Undertaker is now in that role. I have also put Adam Pearce in as head of talent relations. Again, the game suggested he was a good candidate for that. And Biggie is the morale officer. And once more, the game suggested he was a good candidate for that. We've also added Drew McIntyre to the list of locker room leaders alongside Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Seth Rollins. I think that's all the business from the back end of the company that I need to bring you. So it's time to go through the tour that we've just done for the Royal Rumble tour. Began all the way back on the 1st of January, actually before the Battleground show that we brought you in the last episode. But as you can see, the first of the qualifying matches for the Royal Rumble took place. So Eric Rowan defeated Kit Wilson, Talatonga qualified, beating R-Truth, and Jimmy Uso overcame Tonga Loa. But we also started to shape the various storylines and the stables that are going to be a huge part of what happens in this company going forward. And indeed, we framed the main event of what will be Saturday night's main event in February between CM Punk and Cody to determine the first, well, not the first, actually the second or third or fourth iteration of the undisputed title. So basically, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes will be facing each other at Saturday night's main event in a title unification match. And Punk obviously just at the end of this show cut a promo on Cody to that effect. There was also some stuff here where Jimmy Uso was offered a place in the Bloodline after defeating Tonga Loa. And I think also one or two other bits in terms of these matches, but nothing major. Then the second night of the tour, Rey Fenix, Montez Ford, and LA Knight were were successful in qualifying for the Royal Rumble. During LA Knight and Finn Balor's match, Dominic Mysterio tried to interfere on Balor's behalf, but ended up costing the match. So that caused a little bit of annoyance between Balor and Mysterio. Montez Ford, after beating Trick Williams in their qualifying match, told Trick Williams that he won't survive on the main roster alone. So basically foreshadowing the sense that the WWE is going to become a place where you need allies to survive. So those were the main points coming out of the Royal Rumble for day 2. On day 3, we saw Damian Priest defeat Uncle Howdy in one of the qualifying matches. And then after the match, Damian Priest was attacked by the Wyatt Six, but surprisingly, the Judgment Day made the save in this instance. Jimmy and Jey Uso then defeated the Creed brothers in a tag match, and after the match, Jey Uso told the Bloodline that Jimmy would never join them. Rusev defeated Ludwig Kaiser in another Royal Rumble qualifying match, and after the match, Rusev and Kaiser shook hands in a strange show of respect for one another. Cody Rhodes cut a promo on Punk saying that he was the man of the past while Cody was the man of the moment. And then Randy Orton in the main event defeated Gunther in another Royal Rumble qualifying match. And then after the match, disappointed and frustrated with his loss, Gunther attacked Randy Orton. Royal Rumble Day 4 saw another bunch of stuff take place. So first of all, we had the Street Profits defeat Los Garza in this match. That's these two. I can never remember their actual WWE names. It always goes out of my head. I think it's Angel and Berta, I think. Street Profits won that match. They won as a consequence of Trick Williams interfering, and he shakes their hands, signaling that he is joining the Street Profits as a third member. We also had Eric defeat Rey Mysterio here when Ivan, his tag team partner, helped him win the match. So Rey Mysterio Jr. did not qualified for the Royal Rumble. Rusev and Ludwig Kaiser in their new tag team won their first match against a New Catch Republic. We saw Damian Priest ask the Judgment Day what their game is, and Balor telling Priest that everybody needs a friend. That was after JD McDonough had also qualified for the Royal Rumble, beating Carmelo Hayes. And then we had Randy Orton says that he'll win the Rumble, then he'll deal with Gunther, obviously after Randy Orton was attacked by Gunther. And the main event saw Roman Reigns also qualify for the Royal Rumble, defeating Sami Zayn in a major match. Now, I should say at this point, actually, and I should have pointed this out earlier on, all of these qualifying matches were completely drawn at random. I genuinely drew all of them at random. So the matchups that have been as a result of this were not my intention. I didn't plan for them. They were just drawn at random, and I'm now working around them to figure out the best route to the Royal Rumble effectively. So that was where we were by the time our last episode came out, although you didn't see any of that because I only showed you the Battleground tour. So we carry on through the Royal Rumble tour, and on day 5, we saw that Rusev announced a new faction, the formation of the European Union. So Rusev, along with Ludwig Kaiser and Aleister Black and Ilya Dragunov, are the group in question. They defeated New Catch Republic and Melody Miz in a 8-man tag match, and then Rusev announced the formation of that stable. Tommaso Ciampa qualified for the Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio Jr. called out the War Raiders to get revenge for his loss. They surround him, but the LWO then came out to back up Rey. Priest was attacked after another match by the Wyatts, and Judgment Day once again made the save. Shinsuke Nakamura qualified for the Royal Rumble. We also had Gunther telling Orton to let bygones be bygones, so basically telling Orton not to go there. He's taken his beating and he should just live with it. AJ Styles qualified for the Rumble with a victory over Angelo Dawkins. And then CM Punk tells Cody that he may be coming to an end of his career, but he's got at least one more run on the top left. And then once again, the feud with Jimmy and Jay against the MFT Bloodline group continued here, where they had a 6-man tag match, and then after the match, all the members of the Bloodline, along with Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, had a massive brawl to end the show. On the 6th day of the tour, so yeah, well into it now, the LWO once again kind of ran off the War Raiders in the opener. Santos Escobar and Ilya Dragunov went to a double DQ in their match. And then after the match, the EU and the Legado del Fantasma had a brawl. Dominic Mysterio qualified for the Royal Rumble with victory over Kofi Kingston. We saw The next match, so Vision and the Bloodline were kind of basically made a deal in the ring before the match between Bron Breakker and Tamatonga to keep this match as a one-on-one contest. As obviously the Vision and the Bloodline are their respective stables, and in that one-on-one contest, Bron Breakker qualified for the Royal Rumble. Finn Balor then offered Damian Priest a place back in the Judgment Day, which he accepted. So Priest rejoins the Judgment Day as part of this new story. And then in the main event, CM Punk and Gunther defeated Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in what is probably, I think, the best match of the tour overall. Then another event, Ivar defeated The Miz. So basically, both members of the War Raiders are through to the Royal Rumble. The War Raiders, challenged Rey Mysterio Jr. and Dragon Lee to a rematch after they'd had a tag team match on a previous show. We also saw the Street Profits get a victory. The new three-person Street Profits defeating R-Truth and Fraxium here. Dexter Lumis qualified for the Royal Rumble with help from one of his Wyatt six team or stablemates. They celebrated Loomis's win, but then Judgment Day with Priest arrive and the 8 men then fight. Jay and Jimmy Uso went to a no contest with the Bloodline, and we had another brawl between the various parts of this story. European Union defeated Legado del Fantasma as their feud continued. And then Randy Orton says he'll be waiting at WrestleMania for either Punk or Rhodes, and then Gunther won't be a factor anymore. And in the final main event, Logan Paul defeated Sheamus to qualify for the Royal Rumble. And in this one, Bronson Reed helped Logan Paul get the job done. So the Vision very much working as a team to get themselves through to the Rumble. In day 8 of the tour, we had Omos qualify for the Royal Rumble, defeating Chris Sabin. And after the match, the Street Profits came out and offered Omos a place in their stable. We also had Austin Theory defeat Solo Sikoa by countout to book his place in the Rumble. Solo Sikoa was counted out when he got into a little bit of a fight with, again, Jimmy and Jey Uso on the outside. Damian Priest then cut an angle explaining why he'd rejoined the Judgment Day, and he says that the whole WWE is getting very tribal, and he needed to reunite with his family in order to survive. We then had Sheamus call out Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed came out and accepted that, and they then went and brawled with each other all around the ring and had a big old fight. We also saw Penta qualify for the Royal Rumble, defeating Pete Dunne. And then Cody telling Punk that he'll see him at the Royal Rumble for their match signing. So that's one of the first official announcements for the Royal Rumble, is that Punk and Cody will sign the contract for their match at Saturday night's main event. So then we move on to day 9. First of all, we had JC Mateo also qualify for the Royal Rumble, defeating Xavier Woods. Jacob Fatu defeated Grayson Waller by countout when Grayson Waller intentionally got himself counted out after basically being dominated in that match. Ilya Dragunov and Santos Escobar had their rematch. So their original match was actually for a place in the Royal Rumble, but because they drew, they had to have a rematch, and Dragunov got the victory in the rematch to qualify for the Rumble. The Judgment Day and the White Six had an 8-man tag match, which the Judgment Day took the victory in. Solo Sikoa then cut a promo saying that the users will pay for their interference in the Bloodline's business previously. Aleister Black defeated Bronson Reed in a match that was for a place in the Royal Rumble. Black won the match, though, with the help of Sheamus. So Sheamus effectively repaying the favor from Bronson Reed, who had cost him his place in the Rumble. Gunther told Orton in an angle that if he thinks things are over between them, then he should think again. And then we had a big old 10-man tag match to finish the show. And then the final night of the tour, Jey Uso defeated Joaquin Wilde to book his place in the Royal Rumble. After the match, the Bloodline attack Jey Uso, but Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso made the save. That's what that should say, but obviously it doesn't say that. The War Raiders defeated the Latino World Order in a tag team match. The War Raiders trying to continue their feud with the LWO. Santos Escobar says that Legado del Fantasma will claim revenge against the European Union at the Royal Rumble, and that is another match that's been booked for the show. Legado del Fantasma versus Rusev, Aleister Black, and Ludwig Kaiser. None of those people had qualified for the Rumble. Joe Gacy qualified for the Rumble, beating Alex Shelley. Then we had an angle where Omos came out and told the Street Profits that he will give them his answer at the Royal Rumble for whether or not he's going to join them. Drew McIntyre defeated Johnny Gargano in another Royal Rumble qualifying match. And finally, we had a 6-man tag match, and after which CM Punk came out Cody being part of the winners, and CM Punk came out and told Cody that once he puts pen to paper at the Rumble, there is no backing out. So the big kind of threatening promo from CM Punk there to end the show. And that is the entire Royal Rumble tour. We are now poised to go into the Rumble. I can reveal the card as it stands is going to be, we've got the Royal Rumble match, obviously a 30-man Royal Rumble match to determine the person who will face the WWE Men's World Champion at WrestleMania. And by that point, of course, the belts will be unified. So it'll be either Cody or Punk against the winner of the Royal Rumble at WrestleMania Night 2. We've also got Sheamus versus Bronson Reed in a singles match. We've got the Cody Rhodes CM Punk match signing. We got the Motor City Machine Guns, New Day, Tamatonga and Tongaloa, and the New Catch Republic in a 4-way tag team match. Legado del Fantasma versus Rusev, Aleister Black, and Ludwig Kaiser in a 6-man tag match. Trick Williams will be in a singles competition against R-Truth. And then additionally, we've got a 10-man tag match, which will be Sami Zayn, Akira Tozawa, Rey Mysterio Jr., Dragon Lee, and Kit Wilson against Finn Balor, The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Grayson Waller. This was realistically just to get a bunch of other people on the show because they had nothing else to do. So, on the other end of this, I'm going to bring you the Royal Rumble show itself, so I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, so here we go then. The Royal Rumble is here. And even though it says at Riyadh in the logo for the show, we are actually at the Harvard Stadium in New England. Just the way it is, I guess. 29,183 people have crammed themselves into the Harvard Stadium for this one. And we start with this random 10-man tag match, which really probably I could have put on the pre-show, to be honest, because it doesn't mean anything. There's nothing really important going on here. Sami Zayn, Akira Tozawa, Rey Mysterio Jr., Dragon Lee, and Kit Wilson against Finn Balor, The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Grayson Waller. I'll confess right now, I was going to just ignore it, but there are one or two mistakes here. For example, Nakamura is actually going to be in the Royal Rumble as well. Completely, I don't know what it was, neglected to realize that Nakamura had won his qualifying match. Anyway, he will be in the Rumble later on. In this one, though, the best performer was, by the looks of things, Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. Rey Mysterio Jr. had a 63 as well, so not bad from him. And ultimately, the babyfaces won with Sami Zayn pinning Grayson Waller with a haluva kick. The match designed to work the crowd. A segment rating of 50, not too bad. I mean, I said the babyfaces won. To be honest, again, the babyfaces and heel divide is a pretty loose descriptor these days. Anyway, that was our opener. The next match on the show is Trick Williams versus R-Truth, and Trick Williams gets kind of credibility enhancing victory in this one. 7 minutes 35 seconds match, wins by pinfall. Segment rating of 52, so not bad at all. Williams benefited from being flavor of the month, but these two do not click, and it made for an awkward bout. Nevertheless, Trick Williams did a 48 in-ring performance and R-Truth of 46. We're more interested here in Trick Williams, and I'm going to say something controversial. For me, when WWE decided that maybe they're going to let R-Truth go, I can kind of understand it. Now, looking at the fact that I'm booking the company, I'm like, what do I do with R-Truth? I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, so I could see R-Truth being someone that we do cut as we go through the game. But Trick Williams was the focus of this one, and he gets the win. Next up, we get a match that obviously has benefited from some build as the European Union defeated Legado del Fantasma in 11:55 when Aleister Black pinned Berto with a black mass. So this one got a segment rating of 58 with the crowd heat at the end still simmering. Some decent performances, if nothing really stand out. But my main feeling here was that we needed to give European Union another victory as we're sort of establishing them as a new faction at the moment. And it just felt like they needed this win more than Legado del Fantasma. I'm quite high on Santos Escobar. I do intend to push him somewhat, but I'm not really sure exactly when I'm going to go around to that or how that's going to work. But for the moment, the EU win this one. Then we had the 4-way tag team match, Motor City Machine Guns versus the New Day versus the Bloodline versus New Catch Republic. I went back and forth on this about who was going to win, but in the end, it was won by the New Catch Republic when Tyler Bate pinned Xavier Woods. Tongaloa was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody's in-ring performance. You can see he was just a 42 here. I'm really high on Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. And I was looking at this match as a who is it from this group, which tag team from this group am I really, really invested in pushing? Those were the ones that I was most invested in pushing. I was also quite invested in the Motor City Machine Guns, and I even considered having the Bloodline win. You'll notice that the one team I haven't mentioned was the New Day, and that's because I just, again, I feel like we've come to the end of the road with them. They could very well be two men that are cut from this roster as we go forward. But for now, the New Catch Republic win the match. If I mention anybody that I'm thinking of cutting from the roster that you think I shouldn't do, and you've got any ideas that I could go with them, let me know in the comments. That'd be really, really helpful. But anyway, New Catch Republic get the victory here. Then we did the match signing between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. They both come out for this one and they sign the contract with minimal fuss. But after signing the contract, they then partake in a dueling promo where Punk and Rhodes go back and forth, trade insults, trade reasons why they feel that they've got the edge going into the Saturday night's main event match where the two titles will be unified. And as you imagine from these two cutting a promo against one another, the segment rating was humongous, a 91. Both enjoyed and had the benefit of the fact that they didn't have to go didn't have a script to talk to, and yeah, a really great segment here, which enhances the heat of these two in terms of their feud as we head towards Saturday night's main event in February. That will, of course, be in 2 episodes' time because our next episode will be the Women's Tag Classic episode, which is their February sort of tour and show. Then the singles match between Sheamus and Bronson Reed took place, and in this one, Bronson Reed defeated Sheamus in 13 minutes and 2 seconds with a death drop driver following interference from Omos. So Omos is the man who makes a difference here. This got a segment rating of 66 with the crowd heat at the end hot, obviously after the great angle as well that they'd just seen. Sheamus did a 62, Bronson Reed a 54. I am looking to the future, and Bronson Reed feels like, of these two, the future. Um, After the match, Paul Heyman cut a promo where he basically told everybody that Omos is the latest member of the Vision. He will be the real enforcer of this group, and it gets a segment rating of 63. And I imagine there are people out there going, "What are you doing, putting Omos with this really hot group of young wrestlers?" Well, I just feel like I don't want everybody in the Vision to be wrestlers that they are looking to for the future to be major stars. And Omos to me just felt like what this group would go out and do in the kayfabe of the story is bring in somebody that felt like a completely non-regrettable addition to the group. And Omos just felt like that kind of guy. I don't expect him to do much. He will play a role in sort of 8-man and 10-man tag matches when the Vision need another member to make up the numbers, but that's about it. And for the moment, I'm happy with that. Who knows? Maybe eventually we'll decide that that doesn't work. But Omos comes into the group, and this is also effectively him by default making the point that he's not joining the Street Profits, who are a group that did offer him a chance to join them. After this, we get the Royal Rumble match itself, and it was a really poor match. Segment rating is 64. I mean, come on, I don't. This is going to be really difficult this save. I can tell that I'm going to really struggle with getting big ratings for big matches. I mean, look, loads and loads of wrestlers in this one. It was won by Roman Reigns in 66 minutes and 59 seconds. Really, that's the headline I should have led with. Really, Roman Reigns is the winner. The game is then assigned an order of elimination. I did actually assign the last few eliminations, but we start with Eric Rowan went first, then Jim Gacy, then Eric, then Ivar, then Talatonga, then Penta, then Tommaso Ciampa, then Ray Phoenix, then Ilya Dragunov, then JC Mateo, Dexter Loomis, Omos, Austin Theory, JD McDonough, Shinsuke Nakamura and Johnny Gargano, Alistair Black, Montez Ford, Jimmy Uso, Damian Priest, Jay Uso, Logan Paul, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, Dominic Mysterio, AJ Styles, Bron Breakker, Drew McIntyre, and finally Randy Orton. And actually, um, Gunther was the reason why Randy Orton didn't end up winning this match because it came down to Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, but Gunther ran in, attacked Randy Orton, and threw him over the top for Roman, essentially leaving Roman in the ring alone as the victor. But of course, they're not working together. That was just that Gunther hates Randy Orton. Um, It's got a 7 rating of 64. We also set up a new story between Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. So there's at a certain point in the match, these do have a flashpoint where kind of they kind of get angry with one another. So it just started off a feud between them two. And yeah, disappointing really in terms of the overall segment rating. It will make for an overall disappointing show ultimately. But as I say, we've got a long way to go. And one of the reasons why Roman Reigns won this is I'm having to be realistic here. The game rates popularity is a massively important part of match quality for WWE. And so even though I wanted to go with someone younger, with someone with a bit of potential to do some new things, ultimately for the moment, Roman Reigns had to win this because I need the WrestleMania main event to actually really mean something. So Roman Reigns gets the victory, last eliminating Randy Orton, and that is the Royal Rumble. The overall rating for the show then lost its popularity in 49 regions. I should say we've done a deal with Netflix to air our television on Netflix, which is a mistake for this show because it was not well received. Overall rating of 59. That's really poor, actually. And the general feeling is that WWF don't have enough storylines rated hot or above going on, and I need effectively one of the things that this company requires due to its size is that we have uh, five five storylines ongoing that are rated as hot or above. At the moment, I have two. I have the CM Punk Cody Rhodes thing and the Randy Orton Gunther thing. So it's on me to create some new stories, to create some interesting ones that can take us to that next level. I've got some ideas for that. It's going to take a bit of time to bed in and get to the place where we need to get, but that's what I intend to do. And is that. That's everything for today's episode. The Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble 2026, is in the book. Roman Reigns will face either Cody Rhodes or CM Punk at WrestleMania for the title, the unified title by that point, because Cody and CM Punk are, of course, on a collision course for Saturday night's main event for the undisputed title, for the new unified title. We'll be back again in about a week's time with the next episode, which will document the Women's Tag Team Classic, a tournament that's taking place over the course of February. And the episode after that will be the Saturday night's main event tour and event. Thank you for watching. Please give a like if you've enjoyed today and subscribe if you want to continue to follow along with the series. But until next time, thank you for watching.